What do you make of the notion that maybe Black general managers and head coaches are getting a shorter leash than their white counterparts?
I think it's a thing. To be honest with you, it's a thing, and it's something that has to be addressed. But in order to address that, we got to have Black ownership. You need somebody in the room that can be an advocate and a champion for those opportunities, and that's coming. That's coming.
All right, folks, we've got a special guest back with us today. He's a former NFL star who dominated on the field, and now he's making big moves off the gridiron as a business leader and mentor in the sports world. Y'all give a big welcome back to the one and only Garrick Jones. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I see that beard butter is still working. That beard butter is still growing strong, looking healthy, my mans.
Always, bro. Oh, we got to look the part, man. I mean, we got to act established, right?
Absolutely, 1,000%. I'm ready to talk about all the things that you have going on. I feel like since the last time we've spoken, some things have moved around. We got some new opportunities. What are you most excited about within your portfolio at this very moment?
Man, women's sports. Like I said the last time, we have been working on the Nashville expansion bid with the WNBA, in which we're still in that mix, but now we're talking with pro volleyball. Sorry about that. The federation, man. Looking at those options. There's some emerging leagues, in reference to women's gymnastics that we've been talking with. Being able to bring a lot of that to the forefront, man. I'm excited. Of course, the UFL. We're kind of talking with them when they're ready to get into independent ownership. But my thing is bringing it all together and putting it inside of our sports and entertainment district concept. So. It's been some really good reception, man. We're looking forward to a really good 2025.
I want to hear you expound on the PVF, the Pro Volleyball Federation, just a little bit. It's a brand new league. It rolled out just this year. I told Samaria earlier this year, I said, the next big league in American sports is the Pro Volleyball Federation.
Okay, why do you feel wait, hold on. I didn't have a problem, Garrick, with him saying that. I had a problem with why he said that volleyball would be bigger than softball, and it's because he's a man. Okay,
I got you.
Okay, now you can answer the
Garrick.
question.
Wait, Garrick, I know you real buttoned up. I don't want you to offend your political connects, but why, from your purview, is professional women's volleyball a sport that we should be investing time, interest, and your money into?
Well, I think you get the opportunity to get more close and personal with the athletes. And I think that's really the consensus across the board. Being able to paint that picture, that narrative, you get an opportunity to, for me, being from a football space, you get a chance to remove the helmets, if you will. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it's just the opportunity for these athletes to continue on, after they're done, with their collegiate situations, right? We want to keep that going because they're coming into their own and you don't really mature enough until 26, 27. So I think that's going to be really the determining factor. People get a chance to watch these athletes grow and be a part of their growth. So that's how I see it.
I don't like that answer, but I'm gonna let you rock.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, Rodney, you should tell him why you think.
Yeah.
All right. So I interviewed a young lady who was the national volleyball player of the year for the state of South Carolina 2 years ago. She now goes to the University of Texas, who just won the women's volleyball championship just last year, right?
Right.
And so that a lot of those players from that national championship team are now part of the PVF in their local pro team as well. And so the fan base down in Austin was easily transferable over to this new pro team, right? Boom.
Yes,
so
sir.
we get that. It's kind of like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. You take that swell of energy from college and bring it into the professional landscape. Cool. Absolutely. We understand all of that. But the real reason that there's an opportunity for emotional and aesthetic and emotional investment into women's volleyball is because it is a sport that showcases the beauty of femininity. Yes, and sir. It's a combination of athleticism and being fine as hell. And unfortunately, in the WNBA, which they're doing phenomenal things, the league is growing exponentially and we love it. Right. There is something to be said about the male gaze that you got to pay attention to. You know, like it's a worthwhile business.
Man, listen, absolutely. I think there will be an uptick in male fandom across the board, and that's you can't bat an eye at that, right? That's a part of the deal. I think the league itself and where they're headed, you're gonna have a ton of males that'll be a part of this deal, and just really whether they're there for just the optics or they're there for just the sportsmanship and the athleticism, you want to get them in the door. So I feel you completely.
Yeah, I want to be right there sideline reporting. Hey, you know that
there you go. Exactly.
That kill shot right there was elite. So tell me about your eye line there. Sorry, Samaria, go ahead.
It gets on my nerves so bad. I want to go back to the WNBA because you talked a lot about ownership in that league. We've seen Unrivaled and how popular I feel like it's been the last couple of weeks or so. How much pressure do you feel like Unrivaled is putting on the WNBA?
Competition is good for anybody. It brings out the best in you, but I don't think that they're there to compete with the WNBA. I think they're there to add value when it comes to the athletes having to leave the country in order to keep funds going. I think they're going to be there to be an alternative to that, and that's a really good thing. I think that it'll complement the WNBA and its growth. They want to get to a point to where they are really able to stand on their own. And I think Unrivaled will help that, and that's going to be a really good thing because of the popularity of what they're doing. And there again, it's that up close, personal, the fans get a chance to really get into it. And that's really going to help the sport. So I don't think that they're going to be much of a competition scenario for them, but I think they're going to be there as a value add, realistically, if you really look at it.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping, that it's not they're not competing, but it's just kind of showing the WNBA like, look, you can have this league that's more fan based, that's paying your players really what they're worth, so they don't, like you said, they don't have to go and play overseas in the off season.
Right. Yeah, you definitely want to try to keep your players in home states and keep them in the U.S. if you can.
The overhead of Unrivaled is so much less, though, than WNBA season, which affords them the luxury of being able to pay their players more, right? Like everybody is centrally located in Miami, so you don't have to worry about travel. You don't have to worry about renting out multiple arenas. And so fundamentally, the business model of Unrivaled allows for the players to be the beneficiaries of a lot more of a cash flow. From my perspective. But I do want to talk about the city of Nashville, which many people refer to as White Atlanta. Why do you think that's the perfect market for the WNBA?
Man, it's just so much growth, man. I mean, it's pretty much Crane City at this point,
Yep.
Man, it's anytime that I'm there, just it's something new every time. And it's growing in such a way to where, when you bring in the sports, you bring in the tech and innovation, you bring in all these different variables that we want to bring as a collective inside of my group. Man, we look forward to it. It's going to be huge, man. So that's a beautiful thing. I think growth is a beautiful thing, but you got to contain it in certain areas, and you got to not forget about the people that are there, especially in underserved areas. So we're looking forward to really tapping into that there. Yeah.
Yeah, and you remember I lived in Nashville for 2 years. I think it's the perfect city for WNBA. And I think also it's the way that like the city is structured. Like everything is right off Broadway. So you have all of this foot traffic already there. It's like, okay, we're already on Broadway. Let's go catch a WNBA game. You know what I mean? Like it's literally right there. Everything is centrally located right there. I think it'll be great. I really am rooting for you all to get in Nashville.
Yeah, no. That's the thing. And a lot of what we're doing with our sports and entertainment districts is that building cities within cities. So everything's there. It's a destination. You got your hotels, your concert venues, you have your retail restaurants, you have all these other sports that we would look to bring into the fold. So now you cross-pollinating fans and just servicing the community. So I think with what we have, I won't say I know with what we have the vision and the know-how and the substance that the WNBA would love and any league would love, as we're talking about the Professional Volleyball Federation, a few other leagues that we're talking with. We got a women's gymnastics professional league that is going to be emerging that will have a part of it. So we're looking to have fun, but it's a rinse and repeat. We're looking to do this across the country. So it's going to be a good time.
I want to talk a little bit about NIL. All right. There's a lot of money circulating in collegiate sports right now. People making a lot of money, but there is a growing concern that there is not enough infrastructure to help these young athletes manage their finances. What are your thoughts on NIL? Should there be systems in place to protect the players, and also its impact and effect on specifically the transfer portal?
Man, I think NIL is a great thing. A lot of people look at it, with different opinions, but I think it's an opportunity to get it right a lot earlier. If you look at it, these youngsters are getting the opportunity to get into this pool of funds, if you will, and it's an opportunity for them to go broke a lot quicker. But if you are in a position to help them structure what they need to structure, kind of like what we're doing with the legacy circle, and a couple of NIL athletes that I deal with and I'm talking to that I trained back in the day. We want them to be, by the time they're done with their 4, 5, or 6 years, be structured as a family office and already be in these rooms and have a diversified portfolio when it comes down to investments. So you got to have more of that when it comes down to it. And I think a lot of these organizations need to have those practices in place for these athletes as they begin to get into these financial situations. But I think it's good, man. For me, NIL was part of the reason I left school early. When you look at the transfer portal and what's going on with that, and guys, one and done, and they're going to new schools, I think what has to happen is there has to be a lot of adjustment by these teams and these coaches and schools. But also there has to be some kind of regulation in what that looks like. Like if I transferred when I played, I had to sit out a year. So there should be some type of environment set up where there are some kind of stipulations in it. And if, you get mad because a coach doesn't want to see it your way or whatever the situation is, and you're going to take your ball and go home and go somewhere else, I think there's accountability that has to be there for those organizations and teams. But, just to be able to just run after you get benched, I think that's going to create a society of, entitlement. A lot of these athletes are, participation ribbons. We don't do those. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where they kind of got to get a hold on that. But overall, I think NIL is really good. It's really good for these athletes. And a lot of these athletes are not going to go pro. So
Right.
they got to be able to do what they need to do at this particular point,
Garrick, we were talking about Aaron Glenn getting that opportunity with the New York Jets, but we saw a few other black coaches lose opportunities. Gerard Mayo in New England, Antonio Pierce. We even saw Rand Carthon, GM for the Tennessee Titans, lose his job in the last couple of weeks. What do you make of the notion that maybe black general managers and head coaches are getting a shorter leash than their white counterparts?
I think it's a thing. To be honest with you, it's a thing, and it's something that has to be addressed. But in order to address that, we got to have black ownership. You need somebody in the room that can be an advocate and a champion for those opportunities, and that's coming. That's coming. But as far as right now, I think a lot of these coaches and GMs have to really take advantage of what they get and be able to parlay and leverage that into something more. Of course, we have to be twice as good, to get half of what others get. And that's understanding. You're coming through the door understanding that this is an elite level on the field and off the field. This is a what have you done for me lately business. So wins cure all. So you got to be a leader of men. You have to have the entire organization get behind your movement in order to facilitate you being there for a number of years. And that's just what it is. That's what I figured out really quickly when I got there, that this is a job. This isn't anything to play with. And every Tuesday they were bringing somebody in to replace me. So I had to figure that out really quickly. And it's the same thing across the board. You hate to see it happen the way it does with a lot of the black coaches and GMs and upper management and so on and so forth. But it's a thing. And it's something that, we really got to, when we get the opportunities, take advantage of those opportunities. And like I say, and I tell people all the time, I don't want to coach. I don't want to scout. I want to own a team. And that's what's going to happen in order for us to have a significant shake in what goes on. We need somebody in the room that can advocate and champion for us.
Sure. A few months ago, Kendrick Perkins, caught a lot of flack for being the face of a company called Nilly, which essentially was giving athletes the opportunity to have some money in their pocket up front for a percentage of their back end contracts, whether or not that's in college or once they hit the professional level. Now, these kinds of things have always taken place, right? This is a business model that was not new. Right, it wasn't an innovation for Kendrick Perkins, but when Kendrick Perkins, a black man, was associated with it, all of a sudden it became deplorable. As somebody who's operating in that space, do you feel like there is a general desire to keep black businesses out of participating in the financial infrastructure of athletics?
I think in that case, and it's almost like a 360 deal in the record industry, right? Especially with NIL and what they're doing. Like I've had a couple of guys that I talk with, and these kids are like my kids because I pretty much helped raise them when they were younger and been there and helped train them and those types of things. They ask questions and they bring a lot of stuff to the table from being approached. There's a lot of shadiness out there when it comes down to these youngsters because they don't come from money. So to throw money at them, like an advance, of course they're going to take it or their family's going to take it because all they've done is worked hard for somebody. But I think if you have a system of checks and balances inside of that, where now not only do you have the money up front, but you already have a system and scenario set up for them to win long term, i.e. generational wealth, i.e. trust, all these different things, from a family office space, basically setting them up to take care of their family and lineage for generations to come. I think that's one of the situations where, if somebody attacks you for giving them money up front, you can quickly tell them that facts don't give a damn about your opinion. Here's what we're doing, and this is the direction that we're going, and I can show you what it looks like. So you definitely got to look at that, when it comes down to it. A lot of us, that have been in sports that are African-American, Black, whatever you want to call it, we've gone through it, the divorces, the bankruptcies, all those things. So we get a chance to teach from our testimony when it comes down to these youngsters. So they need that too. They need to be able to see the downsides of what's going on, but you already have to have, and you always have to have some setup for them to be able to win if there's going to be a significant amount of money up front because they don't know what to do with it. Their family probably doesn't know what to do with it. So it's going to be some flack. It is, like I said, that's a thing too. But as long as you got your ducks in a row and it's documented and you're above board and you got the right people in the room with you while you're doing what you're doing, you'll be okay, man. Everybody's gonna find something to be upset about.
Well, it is the conference championship week. We can't let you get up out of here without letting us know your thoughts. Who we got in the NFC championship game and the AFC championship game?
Man, I tell you what, whoever shows up to play.
That's weak. Nah. I'm not doing that. We're not doing that.
Man, I tell you what though, in all honesty, bro, I think KC is gonna do it, and here's why. I know. We wanted Detroit. Man. I get it because that's a feel good story. They deserve it, but they got to show up and play. No. That's the thing. I don't care who you are. You can look good on paper all day, but when I put that helmet on and put it in your chest, I'm gonna see what you're about.
Commanders or Eagles?
Ooh, the youngsters playing good, man.
He balling.
Galvanized, man. They believing in it, man. They believe. I'm gonna have to go Commanders, bro.
Ooh,
I'm gonna have to go. I'm just
okay.
It's a system of belief. I mean, if I believe I can actually beat you, and we got 4 quarters to do it, you got to play all 4 of them quarters.
Well, you heard it here first.
I'm not here for popularity, man. I'm here for progress. I'm telling you.
I love it. I'm going Commanders too. The Eagle fan base is just obnoxious though, so that's why I want the Commanders to win. I can't stand it. Man.
Listen, they are. Yeah. And that could be your 12th man in any given situation. So if the game is bigger than them, that will be the determining factor. Because you got to realize they all grown men out there. Everybody's getting paid. So hey, like I say, whoever shows up to play, man, I'm telling you. What about you guys? What we're looking like?
I think I'm going Commanders and Chiefs. Commanders and Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They be cheating for Patrick Mahomes too much for him to lose. So I'm
okay.
They protecting the investment. I understand what the NFL is doing. Some of those roughing the passing penalties are insane.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm with you.
I bumped the Commanders at this point. I'm going Eagles. I don't like the Eagles, but I'm going Eagles. I like Jalen Hurts. I don't
So
want the
these
Chiefs
are
to
all
win
emotional
again.
picks.
Yes, I'm very emotional right
Okay.
now. I do
Okay, I got
not want the Chiefs to win again. So I'm pulling for Philly to win it all.
it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Nah.
All the
Mm-hmm.
emotional picks. We take emotional picks too now.
We appreciate you, Garrick. Thank you so
I
much,
know.
man.
Yeah, for coming back and chopping it up with us. Y'all make sure to follow his journey. Show him some love in the comments. And don't forget to leave us a comment and let us know who you would like to see next time on The Fumble.